Okay, episode 8, and we're going to go into Moab part 3. Maybe we'll finish.
Episode 8.
Okay, so we're stepping off. This is the third part. So episode 5 and 7, Moab part 1, part 2, and then episode 8 is part 3. And Moab 240 is a 240-mile ultra endurance event.
Yeah.
Feet on your feet, little feetsies.
Many episodes because it was very long.
Very long because we get to it. I mean, we'll get to the end of this. What happens at the end of the second round? I mean, most people already know that. But the entire race course has 110-hour cut off.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
112?
112.
112 hours. So that's crazy.
That's a lot of time. And then episode 5 was our first attempt.
Uh-huh.
And then the last episode we talked about night 1 and 2.
Right.
So kind of splitting it.
Yeah. So we'll let's see. We're talking about we were at the third sleep station, right? We talked about what that means in the other podcast, what the sleep station is. So this is mile 167.
Yes. So sleep station and my third night that I arrived to you guys.
Third night, and so on that math, let's see, you stepped off at 5 a.m. on...
With you?
No, we stepped off at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. race day.
Oh, I don't remember.
It's
5 or 6.
5
it was
or 6
dark.
a.m.
Yes.
Probably 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
6 a.m. Friday.
Yes.
Right? And then we saw you 6 a.m. Saturday. We saw you 3 a.m. Sunday. Okay, so this is Monday. That's not right.
That's not right. Also,
Friday,
should we do introductions?
Saturday. Who we are?
Yeah. What if somebody searches Moab 240 and then comes across this? That's what I did for a long time.
Okay. So Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny.
Danny _Prevail on Instagram. Sean _Prevail.
Yes.
Danny, and Sean.
Our careers are owning a strength studio in Edmond.
Prevail Strength and Fitness. So if you see us on YouTube, you're on that Prevail channel.
And we like to do adventure stuff as a hobby for fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And so Prevailations. Anyways.
Yes. Okay. Did I step off Thursday morning?
Is it Thursday? Well, it has to be. Is that right? Thursday?
No,
Friday. It's
no,
Friday.
because you finished
Friday.
Tuesday.
So we saw you.
Yeah. This makes sense. So
mile 70 at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. Okay, we saw you Sunday.
Yeah, but Sunday night was the night that I met with you.
Yeah, you stepped off Sunday morning.
I stepped off Sunday morning, and then I met.
So
I traveled all throughout the day,
you traveled all day Sunday,
and then
honestly, the entire day, and then I think you had gotten to us at 167.
About 3 a.m., 2 a.m.
yeah,
or so?
2 or 3 a.m., middle of the night.
Yes. And that was my lowest, probably my lowest point was mile 120 to 167.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I was going to get to you guys by 8 p.m. In my brain, I was so out of it at that point that I kept thinking I'm going to get to you guys and I can sleep at my house and then we can step off.
Right.
If I just make it there by 8 p.m.
Right.
Which is not possible.
No. Because
at the pace I was going, it was not possible.
Yeah, and that was also 46 miles. Yeah. Something 46 miles from that to the next one.
Yeah.
So
I thought I was going to be speaking.
So we see you super early. Technically, we're in the AM hours of Monday.
Yes.
Okay. And then so we get there, things are pretty rough. There's some the videos of you are you're spaced out, non-existent. Responses are low. This is probably the lowest energy we've seen yet.
Yes, and it was cold.
was really cold.
Middle of the night, cold.
Yeah, we were running the heater. Like it was warm.
And this is also when my lips started to get like, they were really blistered from that day.
Yeah. So if that was a Monday, that means that you were 24, 48, 72.
Mm-hmm.
That means you had been endurancing basically for 72 hours.
Yeah.
And you had slept 3 hours maybe total at this point?
Yes.
Maybe something like that. And so 72 hours in, middle of the morning, get you to the tent, get everything, get you
I don't even know if we checked
up.
My feet at that one. I was so over
Very
it.
minimal.
Yeah.
It was really just like get her asleep. And then so I think you had a hard, good nap.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
And I don't know if I napped. I don't know if I napped with you.
I can't remember.
Because I hadn't slept either. I can't remember if I had napped either.
I was a zombie.
And then
we stepped off. Headlamps on, so it had to be before sunrise. So it had to be a 5-ish a.m.-ish, something other, right? Yeah.
We step off from there, and the reason we had waited 167 miles for me to pace you was there was this section from 167 to 180 was a aid station, but no crew, no sleep.
Yes.
And then 201 is the next full aid station,
where
sleep
crew
station,
can be.
where crew can be.
Yeah, but like between the 167 to 200 is the second biggest climb, or they're pretty equal from Shea Mountain to Los Al's.
It's the biggest. It's the most elevation section. Those two sections have the biggest gain, and I think that section from 180 to 201 is the single most gain in the route. That one section is the most climb, and I want to say it's something wild. Like I think from 167 to 201 inside of that, 34 miles. Yeah, it's like 5,000 feet of gain.
It's stupid.
It's a big, big, big climb.
It's a big climb.
So we step off. And it's
immediately like super rocky. I remember like you trying to take a video of the people in front of us because you couldn't see any kind of trail.
Yeah, it was hard to follow the trail. Lots of getting circled back around and looping through things. And energy's pretty low. Sun's coming up, and you are like
dragging.
Like I'm ahead of you by 20, 30 paces, stopping.
Dragging.
Come on.
Yeah. But when the sun came up, it was really pretty out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, we could see the mountain range coming up, like, in the, like that we were getting closer to it. Mm-hmm. And you could start to see all the colors. Yeah.
So this section of Moab, the vast majority of the section so far has been desert.
Yes.
And this,
like
now
desert.
You're getting into the Los Al's, which is on the east side of Moab, and this is kind of it's got a little like Colorado feel.
Yeah,
because you're like, it's a mountain for sure.
Yeah,
there's snow on the top, there's big aspens everywhere. It's mid-October, all the trees have turned to yellow and orange, super pretty, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's definitely climbing up.
Yeah,
we get to the next aid station. We're not way off pace, but it's pretty slow. And I think we get there
slow.
So we've done whatever half that distance is, 17-ish miles.
We have a bunch of videos of me at this point where I'm just like leaning over my trekking poles.
Yeah.
Like I'm not moving. I'm just like swaying. On my trekking.
So we get to 180. I want to say it's 180 something other, and then it's a good aid station, lively.
It was great.
I think the tent there was cots.
I did take a nap.
Took a small nap, maybe 25, 30 minutes, maybe. I just ate a bunch of food because I was super nervous. I know that one of my most limiting factors is me being able to eat enough. So I was at that aid station, like smashing hamburgers until she woke up.
Yeah.
And
I had a good nap there.
stuff in our packs to get stepping off, and then we get into the big climb, and it is.
I did have an interesting situation happen at that aid station, though. This is for the girls only again, but there was like a bathroom situation. There's no bathrooms anywhere, and I'm still on my cycle, obviously, because we're only like 2 days in, and there's like a pop-up tent with a bucket that people were using the bathroom, and this lady at the aid station, she saw me go in there. And then I immediately come back out, and I look at Sean, and I'm like, I can't do anything in this this bucket. It smells terrible. Like, the wind is blowing. If you've ever been in that situation, it's just, 1, it's awkward. 2, it's kind of gross. Anyways, she was really sweet, and she was like, I know this look. And she took me over to her car, and she just like had this like big tent set up that she like plopped out to like block me. And she had like a just random bucket of like cat litter or something. Does that sound right? Now I can't remember. Anyways.
Not there.
Aid station people are like angels for real. So. Random.
Okay. And
random, but helpful. If you're a girl out on the trail, the situations that you go through. Okay, so that happened. It just, throws another little loop into this crazy experience that you're already like feet hurt. Haven't, fixed your hair. I was luckily brushing my teeth every time I got into the camper. But okay, so that was 167 to 181, and that aid station kind of brought me back to life. I think I had some soup. I was just really low at that point, exhausted, and then we step off. So it's really pretty outside. We from the climb 181 to 201 was like all up.
Yep.
And before the sun went down, I mean, this like probably brought me back to life. All of the yellow.
Yeah, it was really, really pretty. Sunsets, phenomenal light. Took the most amount of pictures.
Yeah, because there was
more there than anywhere else.
There was a guy that was like, I don't know, he offered to take a picture of us, which was really nice. But you're like walking through these beautiful trees, and you feel just like the most nasty ever. You're just so dirty and tired at this point, and you want to take like cute pictures, but the leaves were like falling as we're walking through. Yeah. It felt like a dream.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely taking more time to take pictures than time to like recover, rest for a few miles in this section.
Yeah. And it was probably the most like challenging on pace.
Yeah.
This was like the hardest. I mean, the amount of times you like stood and were like, okay, like 2 more steps.
Yeah, we're down to like
so slow.
We're down to a mile an hour here.
Yeah. Maybe.
And
like slow.
We get close-ish to the top. And now all this section is section that we've never seen or been on. So the first half of the course, there was at least...
Yeah.
From previous year, we had either driven sections of it or been out there or had been taken from one to another place. Mm-hmm. So we had no clue what was ahead of us, hadn't seen any of this course, had no idea where it was going. And it gets steeper and steeper and steeper and up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
Sun goes down, and now it really feels strange because we're deep into 25-ish miles, and you can see on you kind of have like saved images of elevations and like on the phone, and you kind of know on the watch, but you really don't know. Mm-hmm. But it felt like those last, and also there's a weird time in big endurance events where you get past midnight and then you have such a big gap between the excitement of the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in that gap and there's not an aid station, it's a very, very long 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to break up the monotony. There's nothing to break up the energy. There's nothing to break up like anything.
No. And it was pretty technical. It was like in the trees. There's lots of like tree roots. There's like stuff that you're having to pay attention to, but we could like kind of see like lights in the distance something.
You could randomly see headlamps off in the way, so you kind of knew the direction you were going, kind of knew the distances that you were gauging.
Yeah.
Really technical. Had to watch every single step for miles and 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 miles.
Yeah.
So big grind.
Yeah, it is a weird feeling, because when you're in the middle of the night, you keep thinking like, well, once I just get home, that's what I kept thinking. Like, once I get home, then the next day I can start my next like section. Like, my brain just kept going in this weird like cycle of, I don't know.
Yeah, because that happened to be your pace, the start times, home being the crew.
Yes.
Happened to always happen when a day was changing over.
Yes.
But now we are at a super weird spot.
Yeah, we're like,
because it's
Monday night.
It's Monday
at this point.
Yeah, it's Monday night, and we're trying to get, and now there's a little bit of pace. Like, the finish line is. If it's Monday night and you're like, well, Tuesday a.m., this is the last day of the race.
Yes. So
it's like, as soon as Tuesday starts,
we gotta go.
We only have Tuesday left to get out of here.
Yeah.
To get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And so we push pretty hard, and we also have no clue where the crew's going to be. The crew is
Grandpa, Marilyn, my mom, and Brad.
Right. And Grandpa is familiar with the area, but not super familiar with the like aid station location, because it's kind of in a weird, funky
random
spot. Yeah. So we're going and hiking and just going, well, we don't have a clue where we're going to see them, how we're going to see them, if they're going to be there, not going to be there.
We did end up having random service, because that was when I asked for McDonald's.
We got closer to the top of that range.
Really wanted French fries.
And we're having spotty service. So it must have been later in the evening, 9, 10-ish, 11.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I
really wanted French fries.
French fries, chicken nuggets. And so we got text out to go get French fries and chicken nuggets, which I think was that Grandpa and Brad?
Yeah.
They went on that run to get the food.
I think so. And Grandpa hates going into McDonald's. He had to wait in line forever. Yeah. Sorry, Grandpa. Thank you.
And and of course they have their own complete set of stories, because this is
they do. We should interview them for a podcast.
The four of them, basically. That was.
we had to.
So that was Sunday.
We got to them at like 2
That was a full. 24 hours.
Yeah.
30 hours. Something like that.
Yeah, I think we got to them like close to midnight, because we stepped off at like 1 a.m.
It was really close to midnight. So we get to the top at 2:01 at midnight, and
mile 201.
Yeah.
200
miles.
200 miles. That's nuts.
200 miles, which put me right at the 30 mile or 31 mile.
Yeah.
And I was feeling okay. I was meh. My feet hurt, but otherwise my energy was decent and good.
Yeah.
And
we laid down to take like a 30-minute nap.
Yeah. And you were like really not
there.
I think you're like cognitive, like your ability to make decisions and talk clearly was way out the window.
Was way out.
Way out the window. So I remember coming.
Yeah. Well, I remember walking up to 201, and it was just it's like I didn't know what I was doing, and Mom and Grandpa came like to meet us halfway down the hill.
Yep.
And I just remember like my mom is the cutest thing ever. So like right when I saw her, I was like, oh, I love your hair. Like, what have you guys been doing? Just like, I don't know. Just so out of it.
Yeah, so we had to.
But she did look cute.
We went up the hill. I ran over and got you checked in, because the RV was a ways from there.
Yeah.
Come back, and it's like, we have to get her in bed. Like, we can't be messing around with chit-chatting and messing with gear and clothes.
Yo,
and
my outfits were such a big part of
right. I was like,
the
we've
event.
got to get her asleep because we're like, this is the last, whatever sleep we can bank right now is all we get to make it the other 40 miles into the finish.
Yeah.
So we get there, barely get any sleep. Really tough to sleep there.
It's so hard.
Because you also get to a point where you're so tired you can't sleep. And for you, I mean, I was kind of feeling it, but for you feeling it for sure, you're in such discomfort that laying down, you just get to be more aware of your discomfort.
Yeah, like your legs and your feet like throb way more laying down than when you're like walking on them.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel
right.
And then you get so stiff for like sitting there for too long.
Right.
And when I say too long, like anything over 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we
try to nap.
We try to nap, and we're, restuffing food, and we knew we were going to be into weird temperatures. And so we packed warm. We
had to step off in warm gear because it was freezing.
It was like, when you stand and you can see your breath in the air kind of freezing, where like it was cold. Cold.
So we had beanies, gloves, pants.
Yeah, we had everything.
My coat.
And we knew we were going to have to come back through the desert midday.
So it was going to be hot.
So we took extra clean white long sleeve shirts because from our canyon experience, we've known that like big, long, open, fluffy white shirts.
Yes.
Loose fitting shirts are like keeping you the coolest when you're out in like direct sun, and we knew we were going to be direct sun.
Yeah, and this was a big thing for me was my finish line outfit.
Right.
So I had to pack my red shorts with my Prevail tank top and my red headband. I couldn't wear my red headband because I had to wear my beanie because it was freezing. So I had to pack that in my bag in a Ziploc so it didn't get dirt all over. It's very important.
So we step off after having some delicious chicken nuggets and french fries.
Yes.
And we're stepping off, and it's so cold and so tired.
Yes.
That you were. When I say it's so weird to talk about time and relevance because we're talking like an hour and a half of leaving. So we are probably 2 or 3 miles down trail, 4 miles down trail. And the best part about getting to 201 is you've got a big, long downhill section. Yeah. 201 all the way to like 219, I think, or something.
Yeah, but you didn't plan on doing the section with me.
No, that was not part of the plan.
I had kind of asked you, I remember kind of asking you when we were hiking through the trees at night, like, you think you're going to want to do this with me? Because I'm going to have to step off at night. And Jessica told me, I remember this, she told me from 201, the next section after 201 where all the big trees are, which is where we're about to get to, she said was super creepy. She said that was the creepiest section for her. And that was in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to have to walk through the creepy section at night. And I'm like, if you feel good.
Right. And then knowing it's also,
knowing that it was downhill.
Well, 201 is the last time someone can leave, like off the course. So if you pick up a pacer at 201,
they're with you till the end.
They finish the next 40 miles.
Yeah, you have to.
So there's no option. So at that point it was like 32, and then it was make a decision for plus 40 more. And I had only really trained for like
30.
Cranking out 30.
Yeah.
And so I was definitely not like that ready, but well before we got to 201, just the way that you were conversing and the way you were like kept looking and not really know what was going on with your watch and kind of knowing, I was like, there's no way.
I'm going to get
like,
lost.
There's just no, and I knew that like,
when I go hang out with the cows,
we're going to have 6 more hours of night.
Yeah.
After 201. I was like, there's no way that she's going to, no way.
Yeah.
No way I'm going to leave her out here. And also it was like, even though I'm not prepared, I'm like, how can I not do 40?
Yeah.
When she's got to do 40 and she's got 100 plus miles more in the banked up before I do.
And I don't know where I'm at.
Yeah. So make the decision as soon as we get to 201. We're like, yeah, I'm stepping off with her. So we need to restock my pack, get more calories, refresh all the things, and which we kind of prepared for a little bit.
Yeah.
We hadn't.
If he felt good, he was like, yeah, I'll
yeah, we hadn't made that decision yet. So we step off.
Uh-huh.
We get to a point where we're both so tired. We slept maybe less than an hour at 201.
Okay, but this is the place. It's down a road. Remember I kept dropping my gloves?
Yes.
So I couldn't my gloves were so thick I couldn't touch anything with them. And anytime I like got my phone out to look at the map or like to do my watch, I was so out of it that I would drop a glove. And 2 of the times I didn't realize until we were like away from the glove.
It was a good like 100 yards.
And then I would have to like run back. I was like trying to like go back and get it. How many times did that happen?
It happened twice. She would drop a glove.
So sad.
And then
but that section
become aware that she didn't have a glove on one hand.
Because it was freezing. The trees, it was dark, but the trees were like super tall. It was kind of eerie in there. You remember all the cow poop? Wasn't there like a ton of cow poop out there? I don't know. It was weird because it was like a road that didn't have anything for a long time.
It was a little big.
Or was that before?
No, it was a big long stretch of trail and a canyon, a little creek bed.
And then it went.
And then it
the
hit
trees.
That was during the trees.
Oh, okay.
And then you came up onto a gravel road.
Oh, the gravel roads.
In the trees, and then we started going down. So, it's getting kind of daybreak-ish, and we're like tired. I mean, tired isn't like, she is like pinballing off of me. You know when you're like drunk down the hallway, bouncing along? Like she's like bouncing off of me, like as she's walking, and she's falling asleep walking.
Literally falling asleep
catching
walking.
herself.
I remember saying to you, the floor just moved.
Yeah.
Because I kept like just losing all function, and then my feet would hit really hard and like jerk me.
Yeah. And it was, so to go back, we try to like take this where like,
so hard.
All right, let's take a dirt nap. Let's like,
it's the most tired.
Let's just lay down where we're at and try to take a dirt nap. And we tried, and it was so cold that we couldn't sleep because the ground was so cold.
We did get out of our emergency blankets too.
So we waited. We were like, well, it's not going to warm up until the sun comes up.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to walk to keep ourselves warm enough from freezing.
Yeah.
And we had all of our layers on. And we're like, if we have to keep moving to keep ourselves warm, and we have to wait till the sun comes up for enough heat to lay down to nap.
Yeah.
So it's so cold that you can't nap, but you're too tired to stop because you'll get too cold.
Yeah.
And we finally, and I remember getting close to that section, and it's just finally a little bit of sun on us.
Yeah.
And we get the emergency blankets out, and we just stopped right there in the middle of the road. We didn't go off to the side of the road.
No.
We didn't like try to find a little.
No.
No, just right in the middle of the gravel road.
Yeah.
Stopped, lay down, got our blankets out, huddled up to each other, and then maybe lay down for another 7-minute nap or something.
But
just enough to like
bring you back to life.
Close the eyes and then boom, wake up off an alarm. And you're so nervous you set like 19 alarms.
Yes.
Because we've heard stories of people taking a dirt nap
and then like sleeping too long.
Sleeping for like hours.
Yeah.
Because they didn't set an alarm or didn't hear it or missed it. And like DNFing off of like unintentionally taking too long of a nap. And we cranked down that road. It seemed like forever.
It really did seem like forever.
Your hallucinations probably peaked at this section when the sun came up.
I lost my mind. I can still very vividly see like the Full House, you know, like the show Full House with like all of the houses in San Francisco. I can see all of those lined up in the canyon. That's what I was seeing. There were all these full houses with families in matching Halloween costumes standing outside.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, we come around like a big kind of like a
I was losing it.
Horseshoe in the road, you know, a big switchback. And she'd be like, do you see that cafeteria with all those people over there? And it was just like a gigantic pile of rocks. And I was like, we haven't seen a house in like 2 days. I don't know what you're talking about.
Losing it. I was so tired. But we were like, the last aid station was like mile 220?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure something right at 219 or 221, 223, something like that. And we knew we were going downhill, and which also gives you a little bit of this false sense of like, cool, it's the end of the race. This is obviously how delusional it's end of the race. It's just going to be just walking downhill from here. Like, you're just going to walk downhill for 40 miles, which is crazy to think about logically. And here in a second, we find out we were in the wrong headspace.
Yeah, because, well, we're like, the sun's up now. And we kind of shuffled a little bit down this, like, hill. It was like a road.
Barely. I mean, we went from...
Tried to shuffle.
We went from walking a 17, 18, 19-minute walk to a 14, 15-minute, like, shuffle. Mm-hmm. Just and really big, long road section. Like, blacktop. And when you're in the big rocks and on the hills, you have change of, like, gait. Your feet and knees and hips do something different because it's so technical.
Yeah.
And you get into these big, long, flat, quote-unquote, flat sections, like, where you can, like, pick your feet up. And your hips and knees get so tired from doing the exact same pattern that you shuffle because it feels better. And your feet are on the ground less. Yeah. So your feet hurt less because you're literally picking them up off the ground. So to go faster feels nicer. Yeah. Yeah. And that was all the way to 220. And we followed that road forever. And it feels like it took years to get to that last aid station.
Before we got to 220, it got hot already. The sun was up. So I changed into my finish outfit out, I guess, behind a tree or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I remember changing, and I remember thinking in my brain, like, okay, we're going to get to this last aid station, and it's like, it's going to be a party because it's our last, like, event. And I kept thinking we were going to walk up, and it was going to be like a cafe and, like, I don't know, just like a party, like a finish party. Right. Like, we only have one section left. 20 miles, easy.
Right.
No.
Yeah, we get to this...
we get to this aid station, which they were great.
They were great, as awesome.
But there was a real medical guy there.
Yeah, medical guy who were working on feet, and your feet were trashed.
They were terrible.
Trashed. Blisters on top of blisters.
And they were like, some of them were full.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, I'm going to tape your blisters. And I was like, okay. He taped them, and then he kind of rubbed the side of it, and then just smashed it as hard as possible and popped blisters on both of my feet. So it's not like just one foot hurt. Popped them on both of them, but with tape over it so they wouldn't get infected. But it was so painful for, like, I don't know. I probably complained about it for at least 4 miles.
Yeah, it was a while.
It hurt.
Yeah, he taped them.
Oh.
He taped them first.
I can feel it thinking about it.
And then popped them, but he popped them taped so they would stay clean.
Yes.
And he also kind of knows, like, there's just one more section, so really just got to keep them moving, because if the blisters get too bad, they swell so much that your gait changes and the way your foot touches everything changes, and you start doing weird stuff because you run out of space in your shoes. Yeah.
I did kind of make the mistake, though. I had, like, heard or read somewhere that your feet get really swollen in these, like, long events. So to buy a size up for when that happens, and you won't have to, like, cram your foot in your shoe. And so I did. And the guy, when he was looking at my feet, he was like, there's no way that these are your shoes. These shoes look way too big. And I was like, they are too big. I bought them big on purpose. And he was like, don't do that next time. Like, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of it's a weird, because your shoes also loosen up a bunch. So, I'm sure there's lots of people who think about.
Lesson learned.
I mean, maybe if you were to go up, like, if you knew somehow you could go from, like, a female to a male unisex shoe that was, like, a quarter to half a size bigger, there would be some legitimacy there.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to go a full size, because then you actually create more space for the blisters to rub.
Yeah.
If your shoe's tight, then there's nothing moving.
Just didn't realize.
For it to rub.
Yeah.
And so we get some food.
Get a lot of food.
We eat a bunch. They had a bunch of good food there. They were running out of ice.
It was hot at this point. I think they had some pickles though.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Hot. And we knew, so we were taking all of our warm layers off, and they were hanging all over us, because when you're moving, you're just like stuffing things in pockets and wrapping things around things. Yeah. So we get our packs kind of put back together and stuffed away. Mm-hmm. Get our white layers out. She had changed.
Got my finisher outfit on.
So she had changed. We put new white shirts on. Had kind of like, you try to put water on you as much as possible to stay as like clean as possible, like quote unquote clean. Wash your face.
Mom was also like in between aid stations. She was taking our white long sleeves and like washing them.
Right. Yeah.
So they did look fresh at this point. They had been washed
the first day.
She probably ironed it too.
To the second day.
They looked nice.
And we're like stepping off, and someone there, you check out. You know, like whenever you leave, you have to tell someone to volunteer. Hey, 203's out, or 20.
Oh yeah, and we can talk about that too, on how every aid station that you were with me. Yeah. They were like, "Oh, it's so great that you're supporting your runner," like to me. Yeah. And I'm like, "No, I'm the runner," and they're like, "Oh," because the men to women out there, where it's like what, there was like 35 females out of 250 or something.
Yeah. So it's pretty small.
It is pretty small, but everyone just assumed that he was doing the running.
Yeah. So I would come up and be like 203 in, and I'm pacer, blah blah blah. So we go walk over there, and
anyways,
I'm like, okay, 203 out, and they're like, wow, you guys look good, like, and we were the only ones who had intentionally packed another clean white layer from the last one. So we're like, oh, we're ahead of the game here. Like, no one else is doing this. We know the heat's coming. We're prepared.
And it was so
and we
hot.
Get stepping off. And this is the first time that I really start to feel scared about not being able to help. Because I was like, I was so nervous the entire time that at some point I was going to have to rely on you, and you weren't going to rely on me. And I was like, that's not my job. My job is to like have you to depend on me, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. And there was one section where we came out of there and the heat came up.
It was so hot.
Like, you were ahead of me.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, and I was fighting off nausea, and I have never had nausea doing anything ever. And all the times in the canyon, I've seen people do it and heard it, and I was like, holy shit, I know what happens.
It's going to happen.
If you don't get on top of this,
you gotta eat, drink.
It's bad, bad. And I'm like, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. Like, I could be the reason she doesn't finish. Like, that's what I kept thinking. And so we had to slow down a little bit.
It was so hot. And by this point, luckily I hadn't had like a ton of knee pain. I know your feet were like killing you and my feet were hurting really bad, but like my left knee started to like really get angry too. So it was like a limping situation. You're nauseous.
Yeah. And it's hot.
It's hot. And I kept thinking like, wow, 220 to 240, like that's going to be so easy. Just 20 miles.
Yeah. And we have
nothing.
We were like up. So you could start to see the Colorado River, and you could see the town lights as you're going down throughout the day. And
so light.
Oh, okay. I know we have to go down to Moab because we're up in the hills, up in the mountains, up on the big bluffs.
And we knew we had until 11 p.m. And it's like...
Right.
We step off from that aid station at what? 11 a.m. probably? Noon, maybe?
Something close to that. I think we had like 3 hours before that aid station shut down. Yeah. Before it was like cut off time.
But we still had, when we left that aid station, so you can look on the tracker if you have service, but we would ask, like I probably asked, like how many people are behind us? Because I was so like... whatever. You finished last, great. But it kind of gives you this little, like, feel of hope that you're still going to finish. Yeah. Because you know other people are still, like, out there with you. Right. Which, by the way, I have to add this in, but at mile 201 when we were at the aid station, I remember Mom, like, we were, like, putting my shoes back on. I was, like, packing my outfit, and she was like, you're really doing this. And I was like, I guess it is like the last day, you know? Last day. So out of it. But they told us there was like 50 people. Yeah. Or 40 maybe. Yeah. There was still like 40 to 50 people behind us. And I was like, okay, cool. So when we started moving really slow, We were both dying. And I have service at this point, and we have 7 miles left. We have about 7 miles when we were coming around those ridges at this point.
No.
We had more?
Yeah.
10?
Yeah, at least 10. When you're coming over the top.
Oh. I don't think I checked my phone until we were going around the ridges. When there was nobody behind me on the map when I had service.
So we were so we had gone up and down a bunch of elevation. So it was like.
It was stupid for the last section.
Yeah. So
if any of y'all are listening, it's stupid.
20. So I guess that last section is 20 miles roughly.
Yeah.
And then we knew.
I just thought it was going to be easy.
Well, we knew that the last, you come down to the side of the Colorado River for a while before you get to the finish line.
Yes.
We'd driven it the day before.
Yes. And when we DNF'd the year before that, we had met somebody down there who was running to just like follow him in.
To cheer him in.
Yes.
Cheer him on.
We were just cheering him on.
Yep.
So we knew we still had like a 3-mile section like on this road by the river.
Right.
Into town.
But our math was like, we know there's a road section and you're at 20 miles, but in your head you're like, oh, I'm just going to go over these rocks a little bit and then I just take this road section in.
And that's it. It's going to be so easy.
But the road section is barely 3 miles. So it's 17 miles of up and down elevation in the rocks. This section is, is there a name for this? Porcupine Rim. Porcupine Rim, and you could definitely YouTube this because it's like a world famous mountain bike trail.
I mean, it was really beautiful, but by that point I was so livid. Maybe pissed. I think I was pissed at how hard this last section was because in my brain I was just like, oh, it's just going to be so easy. Right. No one has talked about this last section. Yeah. You know, it was so technical. It was so hot. So you're about to throw up. Yeah. I have goosebump shivers like I'm cold and it's 100 degrees.
Right. So for those that don't know, these are all signs of heat exhaustion.
Bad.
Which are bad because if you hit that wall,
it's not good.
It is a very, very tough recovery. And we're up on the bluff and there's no water.
No.
So whatever water we have on us is all we have. But then you kind of have to I can't dump water on me to cool myself down when I know I have to drink 17 miles until I can get down to a water spot, which technically there's not a water spot.
Right.
That's when we get the phone, and so we're very close to the top of this ridge. Start coming down off the ridge.
How many miles did we have left?
Well, that's the part we kept getting confused about.
Oh,
because
how many
we were
miles?
we've gone 10, 11 miles of all this super technical climbing up and down. Where is this road? We can't see the road that's on the Colorado River.
It's the longest section.
And we kept going 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 miles, and now you're getting, I recover because I just slowed my pace, started chugging electrolytes, forcing everything I could eat in my mouth.
Oh, you ate a lot.
Drank a bunch of water, came around, energy came back. And so now we're moving and you're getting super nervous because we're coming down this ridge. We're 13, 14-ish miles in, can't see the road. And you're looking at your phone and this number that was 50 when we were at the last aid station is down to
there's 3
7.
people.
Yeah, it's super low.
Maybe 7. It was probably 7. That people behind us. Right. So everyone, it was which we had 2 people pass us probably while we were on that section.
Yeah, we had
Which when you get in races like that, you leapfrog people all the time. So you kind of in this habit of seeing the same people. You're kind of around the same pace, and they kind of had a good stride going, and they
looked fresh.
Yeah, they passed us. And I looked at my phone and I got freaked out. Right. 100% because there was hardly anybody.
Right. Because immediately in your brain, you're like, holy shit.
I'm about to not hit cutoff.
We're not going to make it because we've been passed by these 30, 40 people.
Yeah. And I'm like, where were they? I didn't even see them. I'm losing my mind out here.
Yeah. And that section was an open, wider section. So it's possible someone could have taken a slightly different, around some big chunk of rocks
that we didn't see, or while I was peeing somewhere. Who knows?
Or we stopped and rest, and someone came in the backside. Yeah. But we were like, how in the world? Are we so far behind pace? Yeah. This doesn't make any sense. And we finally get down to the road.
Which there was a photographer.
Yeah, it was.
Down there, so we got some pictures. Well, okay, we weren't to the road yet when this happened, so I have to tell this part of the story because it's funny too. But at this point, I know we're getting close.
Yeah,
to the finish line.
We're 15 plus miles in this section, so we know there's only like 5 or 6 miles left.
And Destination Trail Race, that's the company that does it, that puts on the race. They're really cool about doing like a really great portrait before the race, and then they do a portrait for you after the race. And I'm like, I look ratchet. So I'm like, okay, how do I do my hair? And Sean's leading at this point, and he like turns around. I had like tucked my trekking poles under my armpit and was trying to re-braid at least the bottom part of my braid. There was no way I was going to re-braid the French braid. So I like re-braid both of the sides, readjust my headband. And we're 4 miles out. I texted Mom. So I texted Mom, and we have technical too. I have service, and I text her and I was like, hey, is there any way that I knew there was a road section before we got to the finish line. So I'm like, is there any way that you can just like out the window hand me some eyeliner and lip gloss before I get to the finish line? And she was like, no. You look beautiful. No. And I was like, I really need lip gloss and eyeliner. Anyways, so that was like my biggest fear. So I rebraided my hair. And
going down this is not
super technical rocks. I'm rebraiding my hair.
We're going down like 3 and 4 foot steps of rocks.
And I'm barely functioning. And then when we get down to the road part, I remember I felt so ugly because my lips were so blistered. So I started peeling off my blisters on my lips because I didn't want them in my after photo. So then my lips are bleeding because I'm picking scabs off of them, which is just great.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. And so now we hit the road section.
We hit the road section. Mom and Brad. Marilyn wasn't there.
Grandpa?
Grandpa.
All 4 of them? Or maybe
Grandpa.
Was the
I think I think Marilyn stayed to decorate and make spaghetti.
There we go.
So the 3 of them like were standing on the side of the road, and there was a bathroom down there. We got to go to the bathroom, and then they were like, we'll meet you at the finish line, which it was really nice to see them. Yeah. Because we had a couple of freak out moments. Well, I had a couple of freak out moments coming down, so it was nice.
Yeah.
So then we get on the road, and we know we have like 4 miles to the finish.
Yep. And it's all just
road.
Sidewalk all the way in.
The sun is setting.
Yep.
And I start seeing things again. Bad.
Yeah.
Like tunnels of cafes and just people eating everywhere, and there's nothing.
Yeah. And you're at this point, you're doing better than I am because you're pumped.
I am so stoked.
Yeah, you were like excited.
Yeah, I'm like, let's run it in. And he's like, there's no running right now. And I was like, you're right. My legs aren't moving. But I want to like run it in like I just ran a marathon. Like arms in the air through the finish line. I was barely moving.
Yeah, we're moving slow. Yeah. We're trudging along this sidewalk, which is probably the longest 5K ever.
My favorite part, though. So we're probably 2 miles out at this point. Try to take a selfie. I have it. I would look like a zombie. You're hurting really bad. I'm like so out of it. I don't even think I can feel pain at this point. But it gets cold. The sun went down, so we had to like put our layers back on. Yep. Which I was really sad about because my finisher outfit. I'll get to that.
We thought we were gonna get there. We're coming off the rocks.
I was like,
we'll make it to sunset. We'll make it on sunset. We'll make it to sunset. We can do it. We can
wanted
make it.
To finish at sunset so bad for the photos, and because I was like, it'll give us perfect time to have champagne before it's dark out. Right. Remember, yes. I was like, I wanted this like after party feel.
Perfect, like dinner time.
Yes. Anyways,
in the rock section, just we kept thinking,
kicked my ass.
We thought, we'll get through this like 5 miles of rocks, and we'll have like 12-15 miles of easier section. We'll be able to pick up our pace. No, it took forever to get off those rocks.
Literally forever. But I don't remember how this got brought up. You were getting emotional.
Yeah.
And you were just like, you know, what did you say? I'm so proud of you. Or
Mm-hmm.
I just like.
Yeah, because now we
I don't know.
We knew the finish line was going to happen.
Yeah. And we were like, we had hours. Like we still had like 3 hours before.
The cutoff.
Yeah.
So
we knew we were fine because we had like a mile left at this point.
Yeah.
But we're moving pretty slow. But you said something like, I'm so proud of you, or.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
you kind of got choked up. And I was like, what is happening over here? You know? And I'm like, I'm so excited at this point. And he was just like, I'm just so proud of you. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like reach over to like pat him on the back.
Yeah. And I'm crying like a baby.
He is. He's crying over there. So sweet. And I'm like, okay. Like I just can't focus. I'm so excited. Yeah, and I'm like,
does not care one bit. She leaves me in the dirt.
No.
She kicks me into a ditch.
I did not leave him in the dirt.
Get this crybaby behind me.
But there were like, I mean, he's crying to the left of me because he's so proud of me. I'm so excited to finish. And then to the right of me, I see people eating dinner, like just lined up in tables who aren't there. So yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so we go past it was like the river, right?
Yep, Colorado River.
And we get to like, there's like a stop sign and you have to cross the stop sign over.
Yeah.
To get to the other side of the road, and then you run down this hill, and then you like make this loop to run into the finish line.
A couple hundred yards.
And not very far. So we cross the road, it's freezing. You're sunburnt, you know, when you're sunburnt and then you get cold, it's miserable.
Yeah.
And it's night. But I had my finisher outfit. So I set my bag down, took off my coat and my white long sleeve so I could have my Prevail tank, and like I like kept my bag like unbuttoned so you could actually see the Prevail. And we ran through the finish line. And Mom and Marilyn and Grandpa and Brad all had horns. They were cheering for everybody who ran through. Like the camera guys loved them. Yeah. But you were crying.
Yeah, but I wasn't crying at the finish line because I already got all my...
He got his tears out. I was so excited I couldn't cry. I was like so pumped.
So pumped.
Because they were all at the finish line. We all got big hugs. We got pictures.
Yep. And the picture guy remembered the guy that was taking pictures at the finish line
took pictures of us the year before.
Yeah, yeah. And so he knew, and
yeah,
you know, he was excited to see us.
Yeah. It was so much fun.
And it was cool because the finish line streams, they have like a live feed for like 12 hours or something wild, or longer, of everyone coming in, so you can log on to like a website feed and see the finish line.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you knew that. I think we kind of knew, but then we like, you finished.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could see it. I thought they were just going to be able to see my dot.
Right.
You know, that like changed it from active to like finished with a time or whatever.
So we're at so then it's, you know.
Finish, get my finisher photo with my chapped, broken lips that are bleeding.
Yeah.
And then pick out my belt buckle. So if you do a race that's over...
It's usually 100 miles.
Oh, 100 miles. You get a buckle. So you get a belt buckle. And they have really cool buckles. And they have all different colors. They have pink and white and blue.
There's no finisher medals.
No, it's just a buckle. And they have like... all the designs are really cool, but they'll have like Moab things on them. You know, the arches or flowers or...
Like, they hire a person to make. Like they hand paint all these really pretty belt buckles.
Yeah. And it took me like forever to pick one because you're just so zombie at that point. Yeah. That's it.
That was 240.
That was 240.
We
and then
head back, get into the truck.
And I freaked out. Do you remember when I sat down and then tried to get back out of the truck? I was like, my legs don't work. My legs hurt so bad. I was like, I think my knees are broke.
You were stuck.
Like I couldn't like extend my legs.
Yeah.
But we showered really fast.
We're all stuffed in the Jeep.
Mom is sitting on Marilyn.
So
which they had that all planned.
1, 2, 3,
6 of us.
6 people stuffed into the Gladiator.
Yeah.
And drive a couple miles, mile and a half, whatever, is back to the campsite.
Shower, wash my hair. Brad took all of our gear out, shook it out, and then got on comfy clothes, which is another thing that I think is funny. I was so swollen that my leggings were tight. Like my not my workout leggings, like my comfy, relaxed leggings. And we did we drive over there or did we walk? We probably walked because it was just right across the road.
Over where?
To the camper. Marilyn and Grandpa's camper.
Oh, they were just a couple spots away from us.
So Marilyn made me spaghetti and meatballs.
Mm-hmm.
And her and Mom had decorated, so there was balloons and streamers outside. Now it's 10 p.m.
Yeah. Maybe
later. And some champagne and cookies. And so we all had dinner. It was really fun.
Yep.
That I can remember. I was so out of it.
Yeah, so that's the end of 240. You came in right at
10 hours.
110 hours, 240 miles, all on your own 2 feet.
Yep.
They were trashed. It's you kind of I don't know if we slept very much the next. I think you might have slept. I can't really remember if we slept a bunch the next day.
I don't know. I mean, this is a whole other topic, but recovery from that was absolutely crazy. And for 2 weeks, sleeping longer than 3 hours at a time was really hard because my legs hurt so bad.
Yeah, you were. So we drove the.
But we did
RV
drive
back, and
we stopped at one place.
Yeah, we stopped at one night, but you were basically lying down on the bed.
Yeah.
Or sitting.
Yeah, Mom and I sat at the table, and my legs would just sit straight out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So achy. And then we went into
achy.
Leaving the next day, getting some snacks.
I really wanted Doritos so bad.
Right. Now you're
and some wine.
Starving.
Yes.
Your body is
so hungry.
So hungry. You can do nothing but nonstop eat everything. I think. Did we go to Moab Diner for breakfast the next day? Before?
Maybe.
I think we might have had. I think we had a breakfast the next day.
Maybe. Yeah. But we go into this grocery store, and there was some guy that we had met out on the trail, and I smiled at him. Hey. And Sean looked over and my lips are just bleeding. He was don't do that. I'm don't smile.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird because it's a post-race feeling. You're walking around, limping around this
and I had to wear Brad's shoes.
That's right.
No one's shoes fit me but Brad's.
Yeah. And obviously I don't it's just you just want to tell everybody, hey, she did, which I think your mom was telling all the strangers in the store. This girl just finished a 240-mile race.
Yeah, I should have just had my buckle on me, just glued it to my.
Right. Yeah. And then we kind of get back on the road and take our way back home, and then it was a long time. Your sleep. You didn't sleep.
Terrible.
You slept on the couch for a while.
For at least a week.
Super achy. Sleep was. I've never seen you sleep that much for weeks.
Maybe months.
It was.
I would sleep 10
time.
hours a night.
Yeah,
and still be exhausted,
which is way different than ever before.
Yeah.
I'd never seen you sleep more than 6 to 7 hours in one night before. No. And you were sleeping 10 hours for a long time.
I was having nightmares that they left me out in the desert. So nightmares, freaking legs achy for weeks. My feet were just terrible. Somebody at the studio thankfully helped me.
Yeah,
patch those up.
Experience. She had done
wound care,
burn therapy.
Yeah.
And so she came up to the studio, and that's basically where your feet were at. Your feet were at a stage where they were basically treated as burn therapy.
They were terrible.
Because they were so bad.
They were so bad.
Because they were deep on blister on blister on blister deep, multiple layers of skin deep.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was it. There you go. Big deal, amazing accomplishment.
So
Started to find out like that the live stream was watched.
Oh yeah.
By a bunch of people.
Somebody had the idea, I'm not really sure who it was, to like take videos of them watching me finish.
Yeah, I don't know.
And getting that, all of those were like really fun.
It was super cute.
It was super cute. We can just shut it down, I guess.
Yeah. Do you need to push some other button on that? The camera records a half an hour at a time, so we're back to the
so dark.
It's super dark in here. Looks very podcast studio like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's the end of 3, I guess. What are the most common questions people have when they ask about?
I think they just really ask about like how much sleep I got, and I think like in total it was a little under 6 hours when we like calculate everything.
So out of the 110 minus 6, so it's easily 100 hours of movement.
Yeah.
Nonstop, basically nonstop.
Yeah.
Probably a dozen 7-minute dirt naps where you just stop and lay there. The rest of it was kind of controlled in a bed of an RV kind of thing.
Yeah.
Who knows how much food? What was the one thing you could not eat after? Was that when we were deep into was that Pop-Tarts?
Oh,
or was that the
Pop-Tarts and
something else? You had a whole bunch of.
I had so many watermelon Sour Patch Kids, but I can still eat those. Pop-Tarts were a big one. Oh, Bobo bars for a while.
Bobo bars for a while. You get really tired of like electrolytes.
Oh, electrolytes. There was one flavor of electrolyte that I was like, I can't even smell this.
And what else? And we came back. Wait, we came back after 240. And we were opening this.
No, that was the last time. That was our first year.
Yeah. And I thought you had done something else. I can't remember now. What are the questions that people have about 240? I guess to just wrap up with thoughts.
Just ask. Recovery. I mean, I think I did like a strength session, like 5 days post race, but very like easy.
Yeah, and it took. And
then we actually we started like training again for like running stuff like 3 weeks after. We went to Cayman Islands for an event, and then we started training again because we did like a half trail marathon in December that year, and I still felt like funky, like my knee and my feet like were really sensitive for a long time. Yeah,
energy was definitely way off.
I mean, the sleep was probably the craziest thing. I slept so much.
Yeah, it probably took you a solid at least 2 months, maybe longer, to get back to 100%.
To just feel normal.
Yeah, just to feel like you had felt before training. It took that long to get back to like a normal state.
Yeah.
And yeah, cool. So you saw a bunch of hallucinations, walked to the desert a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, the hallucinations were crazy. The craziest hallucinations I saw. I mean, the houses with the people were probably pretty. I saw a lot of weird stuff. I mean, thinking that y'all left me to make me walk is just really funny, but.
Yeah, and it's crazy because.
I saw the fisherman.
That's right.
Standing on a fence. I was like, you see that lady standing with the fisherman flannel shirt?
Yeah.
He's like, there's nothing there. Water out here.
And it's really crazy because that second half I had just the same amount of sleep, and I never had a single hallucination ever. It's just so wild how that affects you, like how that piece of it affects you so much faster than or not faster, but and more intensely.
Yes.
All right, there you go. 240. There's lots of cool YouTube stuff now about the race since it's been out for a couple of years.
For sure. Lots
of stuff you can just kind of like look up the course, and people have made videos on the course and pieces of it. You can get a visual sense of it.
Yeah.
I think most people like, did you run the whole thing?
No, it's not possible.
Not possible. One, I don't
ran as much as I
don't think someone could run that long uninterrupted, even if it was on a flat surface, maybe.
Yeah. What's crazy is that like your bag is like 17 pounds.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
like,
17 pounds hard. The entire time.
Yeah. So
it
40,
doesn't like start off with 17
No.
and just become like 3 or 4. Like it's 17
Yeah.
the whole 110 hours.
4,800 feet of elevation.
48,000.
48,000. 240 miles for real. 110 hours.
Yeah, pretty wild.
17 pounds. It's nuts.
I think that year had a
So much fun.
67
Oh,
or
yeah.
70% completion rate.
What's really sad, all those people that we thought were behind us, they missed the last cutoff at the aid
Right.
station. So, and they don't
That's
drive
what-
you in at that point.
Right. That's our math.
Yeah.
When we were like, how did somebody pass us? Later, post, like after the finish line,
There was like 40
we're talking
people.
to people and we're like, we're really confused. And people were talking like, yeah, there was that many drops at that 220, the one we left from. There was a ton of people who got there and couldn't continue on.
Yeah.
Because they missed that cutoff.
Yeah.
So they had done 220 miles and missed the last cutoff to get in.
That would be so sad.
And then there was another chunk of people, because that was also not crew accessible.
Yeah.
There's a huge chunk of people who stepped off from there. And then they had to basically walk to the end to get back into town.
Yeah.
Because that was the only way to get back into town.
Yeah.
And they did we saw that finisher picture. There was a big group of them, and we're like, is this a volunteer picture? Is this a
No, it's a finisher
like
picture.
a crew picture?
Just nuts.
And it was a finisher picture of like 30 people who had done the entire route, but it had taken them longer than the cutoff at 112.
So sad.
Which is
So sad.
mentally that is
So sad.
that was tough.
All right, I'm starving. It's almost 8 p.m.
Almost 8 p.m.
So
What to do now? So you can go look at Danny _Prevail. She's got a pinned post of a bunch of Moab 240 stuff.
yes.
Comment and like and say congrats and all those things. If you have questions about ultra endurance things, go ask her, drop in the DMs. We can talk more about other like big endurance stuff and crewing we've done for other people. And if you have comments or questions on YouTube, put them in comments below.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things.
And then tell us what to talk about next.
Bye.